Penny's Memories, The Parable of the Two Houses, written and read by the author, Kara Jones. The icy winds hummed a soft lullaby across the frozen land as Penny, the elderly penguin, rocked gently in her snow-carved chair. The sky stretched wide above her, filled with endless stars, each one twinkling like tiny lanterns guiding the way. The night had settled in, quiet and peaceful, wrapping everything in a blanket of stillness. Beside her, in a small lantern flickered, a casting warm golden glow on the fresh snow. A group of young penguins sat in a half-circle, their eyes bright with curiosity, their small bodies pressed together for warmth. A little red fox, his fur thick and fluffy, curled up at Penny's feet, his ears twitching as he listened. A sleepy baby seal, barely able to keep his eyes open, snuggled closer to the others, his breath slow and steady. Penny smiled at them all, knowing that soon the rhythm of her words would lull them into a peaceful sleep. She took a deep breath, savoring the crisp night air, and gently stirred the warm fish broth in her favorite mug. The steam curled into the air like a whisper, rising toward the starlit sky. Her old wise eyes twinkled as she looked at the little ones gathered before her, eager for a story. "Tonight," she began, softly, her voice steady and warm, "I want to tell you about a lesson I once shared with my own little ones when they were just learning to swim." The young penguins leaned in, their flippers resting on the cool ice, waiting for Penny's tale to unfold. She rocked back and forth in her chair, the soft creak blending with the distant sound of waves rolling against the shore. The fox's tail flickered gently, and the baby seal let out a slow, contented sigh, already relaxing. Penny smiled again, feeling the comfort of familiar company, knowing her words would soon guide them toward sleep. "When my children were young," Penny continued, "they were so excited to learn how to swim. My son Finn was always eager, always diving in head first without a moment's hesitation. My daughter Pearl took her time, cautious, thoughtful, always testing the waters before taking her first step. They were different in many ways, but both of them had brave hearts and curious minds." She paused for a moment, watching the flickering lantern cast long, gentle shadows across the snow. "One day I took them to the far side of the shore, a place where the waves were strong and the rocks stood firm. I told them that today we would learn something more important than just swimming. I told them we would learn about building, about choosing the right foundation." A small penguin tilted his head, confused. "But penguins don't build houses," he said, his voice soft and puzzled. Penny chuckled, the sound warm and rich, like the waves lapping gently against the shore. "No, little one," she said, "not with bricks or wood, but we do build our lives, and what we build them on will decide how strong we stand when the storms come." The young ones listened intently, their tiny breaths forming little clouds in the cold air. Penny took another sip of her broth, letting the warmth settle in her chest. The baby seal let out another sleepy sigh, nuzzling into the soft snow beside him. The little fox twitched his nose, his tail curling tighter around his small body as he nestled closer. Penny's voice softened, steady and calm, the way the waves sounded when they kissed the shore at night. And so, I told my little ones a story about two builders. A long time ago, Penny began, there were two builders. They both wanted a place to call home, a shelter where they could rest, stay warm, and be safe. The first builder was wise, careful, and patient. He searched for the right place, walking far and wide until he found solid, unshakable rock. Though it was difficult, he built his home there, knowing it would stand strong no matter what came. The second builder, however, was in a hurry. He didn't want to spend time looking for a strong foundation. He found a soft, sandy place where the building was easy, and he quickly put up his home, thinking he was smart to finish first. Penny paused, letting the young ones imagine the scene. She continued, her voice as steady as the wind, flowing gently over the snow. For a while, both homes stood tall under the bright sun. The sky was blue, the sea was calm, and all seemed well. But then the clouds began to gather. The wind grew stronger, howling through the cliffs and across the sand. A great storm rolled in, with pounding rain and crashing waves. The wise builder's house stood firm, unshaken on the solid rock. The other builder's house, however, began to tremble. Penny's voice softened even more, slow and smooth, as if rocking the young listeners into a deeper state of rest. The wind rolled, the rain poured, and the waves crashed against the shore. The builder who had chosen the rock, Penny said, his house stood strong. The wind howled, the waves pounded, but the home did not move. But the house on the sand, she let out a small sigh. The kind that carried a lesson in its weight. It trembled, it swayed, and then, with one final crash, it was swept away into the sea. The little fox blinked sleepily, his ears twitching at the sound of Penny's voice. The young penguins huddled closer, their flippers curling under them as they listened, their breathing slowing. Penny let the silence linger, allowing the lesson to settle in like a soft snowfall. "Do you see, my little ones?" she whispered, her voice gentle like a mother's embrace. "It is not enough to build quickly. It is not enough to do what is easy. What matters is where we build and what we choose as our foundation. If we build our lives on things that shift and change, we will struggle when storms come. But if we build our lives on something strong, something that lasts, no storm can take us down." She let out a slow breath, rocking in her chair, her own heart at peace with the truth she had spoken. The young ones remained still, wrapped in the warmth of her words, their eyes half closed. drifting between wakefulness and dreams. The wind outside had softened. The night had settled, and all was calm. Penny looked up at the stars, her old heart filled with gratitude. "Build your life on something that will last," she whispered. "And when the storms come, you will stand firm." The baby seal let out a soft snore, his little flippers twitching as he dreamed. The young penguins had curled up beside her, their tiny chests rising and falling in slow, steady breaths. Even the little fox, who had been so full of questions, had closed his eyes, his tail resting still. Penny sighed, rocking gently, letting the silence stretch long and peaceful. The night cradled them all, the world slipping into a quiet, restful sleep. The stars twinkled above, the ocean whispered in the distance, and Penny, with all her years and all her wisdom, simply smiled. For she knew that, like the wise builder, they too would stand strong. And with that, she closed her eyes, letting the night wrap her in its quiet embrace.